The disaster surrounding Snow White is only getting worse and worse, and now we have reached the point where even Disney is absolutely livid about everything that is going on.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like...
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they're more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
By this point, you'd think Rachel Zegler would have learned to keep her mouth shut, but nope, she just keeps digging that hole even deeper. After Snow White completely tanked at the box office and became one of Disney's most embarrassing failures in recent history, she had the audacity to lash out at Peter Dinklage, acting like she's some kind of victim in this whole disaster. But guess what? Peter Dinklage wasn't having any of it, and now he's clapping back in a way that only he can. Let's get into it. So after the media circus that followed the Snow White catastrophe, Rachel Zegler somehow decided that blaming Peter Dinklage for the movie's failure was her best move. She went on a tirade, basically implying that his criticisms of the film's modernization were rooted in some kind of internalized bias, whatever that's supposed to mean. Yeah, because calling out Disney's half-baked, soulless cash grab makes you a bad guy, right? She even took to social media, dropping passive-aggressive posts about how some people think they can tear others down just because they've been in the industry longer. Oh, Rachel, maybe if you weren't so busy tearing down a beloved classic and acting like you're above it, you wouldn't be in this mess to begin with. But here's where it gets good.
Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, "Why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive."
Peter Dinklage isn't the type to sit back and let some self-righteous, up-and-coming actress try to paint him as the villain. He's been in Hollywood long enough to know how this game works, and he's not afraid to call out nonsense when he sees it. According to inside sources, Dinklage was absolutely livid at the way Zegler was trying to frame the situation, and he didn't hold back when he fired back at her ridiculous accusations. "She's missing the point entirely," he reportedly said. "This isn't about me. This isn't about her. This is about Disney pretending to be progressive while still making lazy, uninspired choices that insult audiences. If calling that out makes me the bad guy, so be it. I'd rather be honest than play along with their PR games." Oof, that's what we call a reality check. And honestly, he's right. Disney thought they could get away with slapping the diversity label on their half-hearted attempt at remaking Snow White, and when the whole thing blew up in their faces, they scrambled to find someone else to blame. And Rachel Zegler, in all her wisdom, decided that throwing Dinklage under the bus was the best way to deflect from her own insufferable attitude.
Dwarfs. It's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? And nobody of small stature could get cast in this thing because they were too worried about offending people of small stature that they decided to go with computer-generated images. I gotta tell you, I think Dopey was the best actor in this entire thing. By far better than Rachel Zegler.
And the fact that audiences rejected her take on the character. And let's not forget, the original controversy with Dinklage started because he called out Disney for virtue signaling in the first place. He pointed out how ridiculous it was that Disney was bragging about how progressive their new Snow White was while still treating the original Seven Dwarfs like some outdated offensive relic. And guess what? He was right. Disney didn't have a real plan. They just swapped out the dwarfs for a random group of diverse magical creatures and hoped people wouldn't notice how lazy it was. So now, instead of taking responsibility for her part in this disaster, Zegler is throwing tantrums and acting like she's the real victim here. And honestly, it's just embarrassing. The fact that she thought she could take on someone like Peter Dinklage, who has decades of experience, actual talent, and respect in the industry, is beyond laughable. She's out of her depth, and it shows. But here's the best part. Dinklage isn't alone in calling out the hypocrisy. Even within Hollywood, people are starting to realize that Disney's desperate attempts at modernizing classic stories aren't fooling anyone. It's all just marketing buzzwords covering up the fact that they have no creativity left. And when the public doesn't fall for it, they blame toxic fans, political bias, or in this case, Peter Dinklage.